Hello, you're here with Miss Libby Rose again. Hello, and I am here to talk about stretch fabrics today. So this is in particular if you are doing the leggings workshop with me at the Great British Sewing Bee Live at Excel this year. So it's coming up so quickly, I can't believe how quick it is, but I'm very excited. So those of you that are doing the leggings workshop with me, then this is really good to know this in advance. But for those that aren't, then hopefully I'll just give you some good tips on sewing with stretch. I am a big fan of sewing with stretch fabric. I do love a nice pair of leggings or nice jersey top and things. So anyway, the first thing that you need to know about is the needle. So you'll be using a ballpoint needle. Now at the show I actually even got me onto the walking foot in the first which I'll get onto it. But first of all, you'll need your for working with stretch fabrics. So normally you've got a when you're working just with like when you're working with just your normal like cotton fabrics, we use just a regular sewing needle, and it's just a sharp point at the end regular needle. But this is a ballpoint needle. Now you can't really notice it. It's still nice and sharp, so it still needs to be nice and sharp like a regular needle will, but somehow it's made with a ball point on the end, but it isn't that easy to notice it. So I like to keep mine in their packets so that I know which ones are the ballpoint needles and which ones are my regular needles. I think it does say at the top here, but my sight is not that good anymore to be able to see the writing at the top of the needles, so I like to keep them in the packet so I know what's what. Now also you'll need to know the size. So like with any fabrics, jersey comes in different weights, so you can have lightweight jersey, medium weight, heavyweight jersey for different times of year. I guess you want a nice lightweight in the summertime and a heavier weight in the winter. So I've got 80/11, so they're a bit of a smaller one. You could go 12s or 14s as well, but I've got 11s here at the moment. So you just take out your needle like you normally would. So I just drop it on these machines, I drop it down and take out my regular needle, always with the flat of the needle at the back of the machine, but the machine won't really let you put it in any other way, so it's not really something that you must remember. So I slide that in, push it all the way to the top, because if it doesn't go all the way to the top, then we get trouble when we start stitching, and sometimes it hits down in the bobbin, and then that's just a nightmare. And we want to stop any problems happening before we even start sewing, because we all know that things can occur as we go along, and we don't really want our needle making us stop at all. So I've got my needle in nice and high to the top, and that's the first things first, is my ballpoint needle is in. And then of course you need to thread your needle, so hopefully that's just going to go straight in for me on video. Probably not. Anyway, so then you need to thread in your needle. Now the next thing to do is to change the foot. So you've got your presser foot. Now I've got this one here. So on this machine, what you do, and you will need your screwdriver. Now again, we would have changed all the machines, so don't worry, at the show you won't have to bring your own foot with you or change the feet at the start of the class, because we've got a lot to get through in that class. We're measuring up and drawing up patterns and cutting and things. So all of this would have been done in advance, but I just wanted to show you this today so that when you go home and want to make your own later, you will be all set and know how to. So this is what the foot looks like. It is used for quilting as well. It's used for anything that slides around. So it's a walking foot. So it kind of does this walking, it kind of like walks along as it goes. It's an even feed foot. Sorry, I call it walking foot. I don't know whether that's the old school name or not, but it's called lots of names. Even feed foot as well. So the reason why they use it for quilting is because you're having loads of fabrics, and sometimes they can slip around. And the same with jersey fabric, it can slip around as you sew. So anyone out there that already sews with jersey knows knows that it can slide around, and that's a lot of fun when you're trying to sew seams together. My goodness. So so we want to put this lovely foot on. We need our screwdriver. Now, so normally you would just click the back of the foot and this would come out, and that's how you change. but not for the walking foot. We need to take the whole thing off. Can you see the whole side, the whole top bit comes off as well? So if you go to the screw on the side and unscrew it. So I'm just unscrewing the screw on the side of the foot, and that will drop the whole piece out. Now you do need to take the whole screw out actually. So take the whole screw out and take the foot off. So now you've got this whole section out, okay? So if you can see that, that whole section is out. And then if you can see on here, there's a little grippy bit. Now that grip will go into the bar here on the machine. So, and the little slit between is where the screw goes. Hello again, you're back here with Miss Libby Rose, and I'm sorry about that. I think the Wi-Fi just dropped out, so you get my video in 2 parts. So many apologies. That is the joy of being in the pink sewing bus, that we are mobile, so we are in the hands of the Wi-Fi gods. So as I was saying, we put the walking foot on, so I've slid that onto the little bar here, so I'm hoping that you can see that, and above, so the needle has come down, so the little screw part that goes into the needle, I've got this handle just above it, okay, so it's just above there, and then I put my screw in on the side, and this is the most fiddly part, that the screw goes in on the side there, and then you just use your screwdriver to wind that back in, and then you've inserted the foot. So now the walking foot is on the machine, and you've got your ballpoint needle in. So pretty much that's it. You're ready to sew with stretch. Now, these are the machines that we are using at the show. So it's the Janome CXL301, and on this machine there is stretch stitch. So we go to, I think we like number 6 actually. So it's number 6, it's like the lightning bolt, and that is the stretch stitch on here. And I just press the plus and that will take me to number 6. Now you don't have to use, if your machine doesn't have a stretch stitch, that's absolutely fine. You can just use a zigzag or any variation of the zigzag, and that's great for sewing with stretch. Generally straight, not so good. So, now if your machine starts skipping stitches, that is usually something wrong with the needle. So it's good to make sure that you've got a nice sharp ballpoint needle. If you're not using a ballpoint needle, the machine will start skipping stitches. I know, because I've tried it, been there, tried to sort of sew up some jersey with a normal needle, and the machine just really doesn't like it. So ballpoint needle, walking foot, and either zigzag or a stretch stitch, and you're good to go. So more things about, I might do a quick little stitch to see if you can see from the back. Actually, maybe if I turn it there. Okay, so I'm going to do this a little bit backwards just so that you can see what the machine actually does. So can you see? I hope so. Now if I pull this down a little bit here, oops, hoping that you can see, and if you can see, the machine sort of, it does it sounds different, and it's sort of walking, it's walking along, so it's doing a bit of a up and down movement, and these teeth on the top here are holding onto the stretch so it doesn't slide around all over the place. So it's a really good investment. If you are using stretch, a nice investment is to get yourself a walking foot or an even feed foot. It's all the same thing, it's just different names. So another thing to just look at when we're doing the workshop is, with your stretch fabric, a lot of the stretch will go from selvage to selvage. So you look to the side, you find there's 2 selvages, and the stretch will go this way. So when we're cutting, we want to cut, fold it in half like that, and we want to cut so that the leggings will lay here and the stretch will give us a nice stretch that goes this way from selvage to selvage, so that we've got nice bit of stretch around our maybe thigh area, or up wherever we need it most. For me, in most of those places, thigh and backside and things like that. So we want to see which way the stretch goes. So normally selvage to selvage. Sometimes it will be like a two-way stretch, so it'll stretch as much this way as it will that way, and then you're fine. You can cut it whichever way you like, but generally it'll be selvage to selvage, and we do need to check it first, because sometimes some fabrics will stretch the other way, and we need to check that before we start cutting out our leggings. So yeah, checking the stretch as well. And yeah, playing around with the different stitches, so either zigzag or stretch stitch, and needles, and the even feed foot. So that is, I think that's the main things that I really wanted to talk about with stretch. Also, if you are doing the leggings workshop and you're bringing along your materials, I think I have given an actual size of elastic, but just have a think yourself. If you want a finer one, generally it's about this wide is the elastic that I've said, but if you want yours to be a skinnier elastic at the top or slightly wider, that is totally fine, and it's up to you because you're drawing up the pattern yourself. So we can adjust and we can make room for a bigger or a smaller elastic yourself. Okay, so stretch, we're looking at which way it stretches to make sure that we cut correctly, but don't worry, I'll be going through all that in the workshop. And these will be provided, so our even feed foot will be provided on the machines, and we'll have a nice ballpoint needle and we're good to go. And then you'll be sewing stretch forever because it's brilliant, and I always like working with it anyway. But thank you so much for watching, and do, if you have any questions at all for me in the lead up to the show, or even if you're not coming on one of my classes, that's fine. If you've got any questions or anything, you can comment on here, or you can follow me at Miss Libby Rose on Facebook, Miss Libby Rose on Twitter. It's Miss_Libby_Rose on Instagram, and you can ask me at any of those places, and yeah, I'll be happy to help with anything. And I really can't wait for the show, and I can't wait to see you all there. It's going to be brilliant, so I will see you there. Bye.